Hello students, good morning. This is me, your science teacher. Welcome back to our science class. In our previous class, we have learnt about animal fiber, that is wool. And also we have discussed about different animals that yield wool like Angora goat, sheep, yak, camel, etc. Then we have discussed about different steps involved in processing of fibers to wool. That is shearing, scouring, sorting, cleaning of buzz, dyeing and rolling. Isn't it? Right. Now today we are going to learn more about one more type of animal fiber. That is silk. Today's objectives of the classes, that is discovery of silk. We are going to discuss about the discovery of silk by watching a small video. Then life history of silk moth, about the different stages of silk moth. Then from cocoon to silk, it is nothing but production of silk, how the silk fiber is taken from the cocoon and how it is converted into fabric, that is silk. Then about different types of silks. After that we will discuss about properties of silk, means characteristics of silk. When we compare our silk with different types of fabric, what are the properties, good qualities we can see in the silk, how it is different from remaining type of cloths. Then uses of silk, already we know we use silk for preparing variety of cloths, right? And silk is also used in different ways that we are going to discuss in our today's class. Lastly, we are going to compare. The last time we have discussed about the wool and its characteristics. Then today we are going to compare the wool and silk. Differences between wool and silk we are going to discuss. Later we are going to sum up the topic. This is all about the class. Okay, as I told you, today we are going to discuss about silk. Silk fibers are also animal fibers. Silkworm spin the silk fiber. The rearing of silkworm from obtaining silk is called sericulture. It is called as sericulture. What happens here? Some farmers, some specialists, those who are interested to rear the silkworms, they collect the silk for the fabric. So they are going to rear the silkworm for obtaining the silk. This procedure is called as sericulture. Before we discuss the process of obtaining the silk, it is necessary to know the interesting story of silk moth, right? Who discovered the silk? Where it has discovered? How? There is a small interesting story about the discovery of silk. Let us watch the video. Okay.
Silk is one of the most prized fabrics in the world. Most people love to wear silk apparels on special and auspicious occasions. Silk is obtained from silkworms, which are cultured on commercial scale to obtain silk. But have you ever wondered that how this fiber was discovered 5,000 years back by the mankind? According to an old Chinese legend, silk was discovered by a Chinese empress. She found some white worms eating up the leaves of the mulberry trees in her garden. She noticed that worms were spinning shiny cocoons around them. She collected some of those cocoons. Accidentally, one of the cocoons dropped into her cup of tea. She noticed that the cocoon was actually made from a long thread that was both strong and soft. In this way, the fiber of silk was discovered, but Chinese guarded the secret of silk for over 1,000 years. Afterwards, traders and travelers introduced silk to various parts of the world. Silk was introduced in India about 1900 years ago. The story of its introduction is related to a Chinese princess who married an Indian prince. She was very fond of silk fabric and therefore she brought silkworm eggs to India in her headdress and fed them with the leaves of Indian mulberry trees, initiating the silk production in India. Currently, world's production of silk is estimated to be around 1,25,000 metric tons per year. China holds top position with production of about 80% of the world's silk. India is also a leading producer, accounting for 10% of the world production. India is the world's second largest producer and consumer of silk and its products.
Okay, now we will discuss about the life history of silk moth. The female silk moth lays eggs from which hatch larvae which are called as caterpillar or silkworms. Female silk moth, it lays at a time 200 to 300 eggs. From that the eggs are going to be hatched. After that we get a small insect known as larvae. It is also called as caterpillar or silkworms. They grow in size and when the caterpillar is ready to enter the next stage of its life history called pupa. Pupa is the next stage. When the caterpillar completely grows up, it converts into a pupa. First we use the net to hold itself. First it holds the net itself because it need a grip to stand and to weave the fiber. Then it swings its head from inside side to side in the form of figure of 8. You can see here. It weaves the fiber, silk fiber in the form of 8 so that it makes a maximum silk fibers. During these movements of the head, caterpillar secretes fiber made up of a protein which hardens on exposure to air and becomes silk fiber. The fibers are made up of protein which is secreted in the silk moth. Okay, it is becoming hard when it is exposed to the air and it becomes very hard. Soon the caterpillar completely covers itself by silk fibers and turns into pupa. This covering is called as cocoon. What happens when it completely weaves the net? Then it is converted into a cocoon. Okay, that cocoon is the final stage of the weaving of silkworm. Okay, once again we are going to discuss this by seeing a small image. Okay, this is a life history of silk moth. Here what happens? The female silk moth lays many tiny eggs. You can see on the leaves the silk moth lays small so many eggs. Okay, after that a tiny black caterpillar hatches out of its egg. When this egg grows completely, it hatches and the small caterpillar, you can see here, the small caterpillar comes out of the egg. Okay, the caterpillar eats mulberry leaves and grows bigger and bigger. It becomes through 4 molds. What happens when the larvae come out of the egg? It eats continuously day and night. What it eats? It eats mulberry leaves. When it continuously eats, it grows and it converts into 4 molds. Then the larva become very long and strong. The caterpillar spins a cocoon of silk thread around itself. The grip is given to it, then it starts preparing the silk thread in the form of 8. Okay, then it completely spins the silk fiber. Okay, then it is called as cocoon. Inside the cocoon, the caterpillar changes into pupa. It builds home it's around itself. When you go through the cocoon, when you cut it, it converts into a pupa. Okay, then the pupa changes into a moth. The moth comes out of the cocoon. Adult cocoon, you can see here, adult moths mate with each other. What happens after when the cocoon is completely developed, then when the pupa comes out, the caterpillar comes out and it becomes a completely grown adult silk moth. Again, the female silk moth lays egg, then the egg hatches, the small black color caterpillar comes out from the egg. It keeps on eating the mulberry leaves. It grows into strong and long. Then it starts spinning the cocoon. Then once the cocoon is completely waved, the pupa comes out of the cocoon as an adult silk moth. This procedure continues. This is the life cycle of silkworm. Okay, now we will discuss about the further development of pupa into moth. The continuously the silk moth develops inside the cocoon. Silk fibers are used for weaving silk cloth. You can see here inside the cocoon is continuously growing and it keeps on weaving the silk thread. The silk yarn, it means silk thread, is obtained from the cocoon of the silk moths, which look very different from one another, and the silk yarn they yield is different in textures, like some of them are shiny, some of them are very smooth, some of them are lustrous, some of them are hard. Like that the texture varies from one silk to another silk. Thus Tassa silk, Moga silk, Kosa silk, etc. These are the different types of silk. Like these three, Tassar silk, Moga silk, Kosa silk, etc. are the different types of silks are obtained from the cocoons spun by different types of moths. Different types of moth weaves different types of silk fiber. The most common silk moth is mulberry silk moth. It is most common one because it has special characteristics compared to others. Let us see. The silk fibers from the cocoon of this moth is very soft and it is lustrous. Lustrous means very shiny and also elastic. It can be dyed in different beautiful colors. Dyed means it can be added with different colors and it absorbs the color very easily and gives extra beauty to the cloth. So the common silk is mulberry silk because it is very soft in nature, lustrous, elastic and it can be colored easily. Okay, now we will discuss about the different types of silkworms in India. Okay, as previous slide we have discussed that there are different types of silks because the different silk moths are there. So they weave different types of silk and the characteristics of each silk varies from one to another. Okay, let us see. Mulberry silk. Then second one is eri silk, Tassar silk, then Muga silk. You can see the images of different types of moths: mulberry, eri, tassar and muga. These are the four different types of silks. You can easily identify because the name to the silk is given based on the names of the silk moths. It feeds on mulberry leaves, so it is called as mulberry silk. Then eri is the name of the insect. These are insects names are given to the silk to recognize easily. These are the four different types of silkworms which we can get in our India.
Formation of silk fiber. Formation of silk fiber. Silk is very important natural fiber. It is soft, lustrous, elastic, and strong. You will be surprised to hear that yarn produced by them is much stronger than a steel wire of similar thickness. More importantly, it can be colored very easily. There are different varieties of silk, of which mulberry, ari, tasar, and muga silk are of commercial importance. Most commercial silk is mulberry silk, which is very fine white fiber. Silk fibers are obtained from cocoon or silkworm. Let's understand the life of silkworm and how cocoon is formed by them. A female silk moth lay hundreds of eggs at a time. Let's talk about one of the egg. When the young organism growing in the egg reaches to the larva stage, it comes out of the egg. Now, the organism is known as caterpillar or also called silkworm. The silkworm feeds on the leaves of mulberry plant. When it grows and is ready to enter in the next stage of life cycle called pupa, it starts weaving a net around itself. It then swings its head from side to side, forming a shape of A. While doing so, the silkworm secretes a protein which on exposure to air becomes hard. This is the silk fiber. Silkworm covers itself completely and enters in the next stage of its life cycle called pupa. The covering so formed is called cocoon. Inside the cocoon, the pupa grows and becomes a moth. The silk fiber is obtained from cocoon of the silkworm. The rearing of silkworm for obtaining cocoons made of silk fibers is called sericulture. Here we complete this topic. Thanks for watching this video. Have a look at the range of courses available in variety of formats only on learnfatafat.com. Your favorite course is waiting for you. Hurry up and get it now.
Okay, still now we have discussed about the discovery of silk. Then we have discussed about the different types of silk. Then life history of silk. Now we are going to discuss about from cocoon to silk. Means different stages how the silk is processed. First, rearing silkworms. Is female silk moth lays hundreds of eggs at a time. The eggs are stored carefully on the strips of cloth or paper and sold to the silkworm farmers. What do? They collected very good quality of silk, female silk moths, because only female silk moths can lay the eggs. They collect those eggs which are good in nature. Though at a time they lay and it is stored carefully on the strips of cloth or a paper, so that it can get all the surrounding temperature, and sold it to the silk farmers. Silk farmers are known as sericulturist. The farmer keeps eggs under the hygienic condition and under suitable condition of temperature and humidity. See, why do the farmer keep it in hygienic condition? If it is very hygiene, then only egg can grow, and the conditions like temperature and humidity is comfortable for the egg, then only it can grow and it hatches. Then the small black color larvae comes out of the egg, which is very healthy, so that the temperature and humidity is most important for the hatching of egg. The eggs are warmed to a suitable temperature for the larvae to hatch from eggs. This is done when the mulberry tree bears a fresh crop of leaves. See here, the eggs are warmed to a suitable temperature. Means they are going to keep it in a suitable temperature, not too high. If it is too high, then the eggs will hatch immediately, so that the larva will be died because of more temperature. Okay, and the eggs are fed on the mulberry leaves. Here you can see a farmer is giving mulberry leaves for these all white color small insects. You can see, no, these all are silk moths. So what happens, first they collect good quality of silk moth's egg. Then it is kept under the hygienic condition along with suitable temperature and humidity. Later, it is provided a suitable temperature so that the larvae come out from the larvae to hatch from the eggs. And it is done when the mulberry trees bear a fresh crop of leaves. Okay. Okay, after that what happens, when the larvae are given more mulberry leaves, the caterpillars or silk moths eat day and night, increase enormously in their size. They keep on eating even day and night, then they grow enormously. The larvae are kept in clean bamboo trays. They are kept in clean bamboo trays along with freshly chopped mulberry leaves, because they eat only mulberry leaves. So it is necessary to give the food to grow completely. After 25 to 30 days, the caterpillar stop eating and move to a tiny chamber of bamboo. In the tray to spin cocoons, small racks or twig may be provided in the trays to which cocoons get attached. Means small twig or racks are given because they need support to build the cocoon. The caterpillar or silkworm spin the cocoon inside which develops the silk moth. See, you can see in the bamboo tray the small cocoons are there. Then this is the way they build silk fibers. Now we will discuss about the processing of silk. The processing of silk obtains silk from silk moth involves 4 different stages. There are 4 different stages to get the silk from silk moth. First one is rearing of silkworms. Then reeling, collecting the reels from them. First one is we are going to rear the silkworms. Then we are going to grow the silkworms. Later we get the reel from the cocoon. Then it is going to be colored, dyeing. Dyeing is followed by spinning and weaving. As we can see the processing of cotton, right? It is going to be spinned and waved to make a fabric. Okay, let us see the first step, that is processing of silk. Processing of silk. A pile of cocoon is used for obtaining silk fiber. For obtaining the silk fiber, what happens? A pile of cocoon is used. The cocoon are kept under the sun, are boiled, are exposed to steam. The silk fibers separate out. Okay, the pile of cocoons are kept and it is kept for the next step, that is to get the fibers. They are going to kept under the sun, or it is going to be boiled, or they are going to be steamed. Here the lady, you can see, she is collecting the silk fibers from the cocoon. She kept these in a boiling water. One of the method is to boil, keep the cocoons in the boiling water. In boiling water, what happens? The cocoon releases the fibers from it. So she is collecting it one by one. Okay, we will see the next step, that is collecting the fibers. The process of taking out threads from the cocoon for use as silk is called reeling the silk. First one is we are going to collect the thread from the cocoons. It is done by hand or by machine. This process is called as reeling the silk. Reeling is done in special machines which unwind the threads or fabric of silk from the cocoon. Silk fibers are then spun into a silk thread which are woven into silk cloth by weavers. First, what they are going to do? They are going to collect the silk fibers. The silk fibers are collected by special machines. You can see here the lady is getting different threads at a time from the cocoons, and it is then spun into a silk threads. So many fibers are collected and it is converted into the thread. Then threads are woven like silk cloth by weavers. That is the next stage where the silk threads are used to weave the silk cloths.
Cocoon to silk fiber and sericulture. Basically, the rearing of silkworm to obtain silk fiber is called sericulture. The people who practice sericulture are called silkworm farmers. A female silk moth lay hundreds of eggs at a time. These are stored on a strip of cloth or paper carefully and sold to silkworm farmers. They keep these eggs in favorable conditions. Under suitable temperature, the eggs are warmed so that the young organism called larva break the shell and come out of the egg. Normally, this is done at the time when mulberry trees bear fresh leaves. The young organism that comes out is called caterpillar or silkworm. It eats the leaves of mulberry plant and grows in size. Along with mulberry leaves, the silkworm is kept in clean bamboo trays for about 25 to 30 days. After this time, the caterpillar stops eating and move to small bamboo chamber. They create net around them and produce cocoon with silk fiber. Inside the cocoon, caterpillar develops into silk moth. The cocoons are boiled, kept under the sun or exposed to steam. By doing so, the silk fiber separates out. The process of separating silk threads from cocoon of the silkworm is called reeling. It is done with the help of special devices. Here is one of them. Once the end is obtained, these machines unwind the fiber from cocoon wound on the reel. The spinning of silk fibers produce silk yarn or silk thread. By weaving the yarn, so produce silk fabric, and then silk cloth can be formed. There are different kinds of silk moths which produce different types of silk fiber. The differences arises based on the texture, that is coarse, smooth or shiny appearance of the fiber. In India, sericulture is majorly done in Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Assam and Bodoland, West Bengal, Jharkhand and Tamil Nadu. Here we complete this topic. Get your favorite course now and experience better understanding of concepts within short time only on learnfatafat.com.
Hope you understand better by watching the previous video, that is about the formation of silk. Now let us see the characteristics of silk. Silk has both positive and negative characters. Every fabric has its own drawbacks, right? First we discuss about the positive characteristics of silk, that is resist wrinkle. Means as cotton get easily wrinkled, whereas the silk is against, means silk resists the wrinkles. Then luxurious, beautiful in appearance. When we wear silk cloth, we suddenly look little different, right? And it gives a beautiful appearance for a person who wears silk cloth. It holds color well. When you wash the cotton cloths, you might have observed that the cotton cloth leaves color. It color fades. The color comes out from the cotton fabric into the water, right? Whereas the silk doesn't gives out its color, so it holds the color well. These all are the positive characteristics of silk. Then there are some negative characteristics of silks are also there. First thing is The most silk needs to be dry cleaned, but some can be hand washed. So whenever we buy the silk cloths, we need to check the labels whether it is safe to clean at home by hand or by machine, or we can clean it by dry cleaned. Okay, most of the silk cloths are need they are going to be cleaned by dry cleaned, right? Then they are very expensive compared to other fabrics. Silk. Okay, let us discuss few more characters properties of silk. Characters and properties both are same, right? Few more extra points we will discuss now. Bomboxy mori, the moth produce very fine, smooth, rounder filaments. Bomboxy mori is the scientific name of silk moth. It produces fine, very fine, smooth and rounder filaments. Then, second point is silk is stronger than wool or cotton because it is made up of protein. It is very elastic in nature, so it is very strong than wool and cotton. Silk absorbs dye well, as we discussed in our previous slide. Silk absorbs colors very easily and the color doesn't fade from the fabric. Last point is most important, that's why everyone loves to wear silk. Isothermal properties make silk feel cool in summer and warm in winter. See, it has both the characteristics. We wear cotton cloths because it keeps us cool in summer, whereas we wear woolen cloths in winter because it keeps our body warmer, right? Whereas this silk, it has both the characteristics, like it feels cool in summer. We feel cool in summer and also we feel very warm in winter when we wear silk cloth. Let us see a few more uses of silk cloth. Okay, silk cloth is used in a large quantity for manufacturing cloth such as dresses, ties, shirt, trousers, pajama and for costumes. It is used in silking garments because of its ability to keep body warm, contained and because it is lightweight. It is very lightweight also and it keeps the body very comfortable during summer and winter. So the most maximum amount of silk is used for manufacturing of cloth. Then the second use of silk is it is used to make silk comforter which are lightweight and hypoallergenic. Means hypoallergic. It does means which we won't get allergy by using this silk cloth for our comfort. It is also used as fabric for upholstery, curtains, rugs and bedding such as sheets. As the bed sheet, curtains, rugs, silk is used. It gives very grand look for our rooms. Means very luxurious look. Only during guest appearance we are going to use this silk things, right? Because it is very expensive and difficult to wash or to clean. Then the third use of silk is silk sometimes used to in the construction of parachute materials and cords. It is used in the parachute materials and cords. This is one of the interesting thing even we never discussed about, right? Silk is used in construction of parachute materials and cords. Then next uses of a silk are, you are very unfamiliar with this, right? Nobody knows that silk is used to make a casing of bicycle tires. See, it also occasionally used to make the casing of bicycle tires. Cotton and nylon are also used for this purpose. Silk thread is used as an non-absorbable surgery stitches. See, here doctor is using silk thread to stitch the person because it is not absorbable. Okay, and it is used in bicycle tires also. These are the another application of silk. Then nowadays silk, artificial silk or real silk are also used in making ornaments like earrings, bangles, necklace, then shiny cloths, bags and dolls. These are the some of the other uses of silk. Okay, still now we discuss about the uses of silk in different areas, right? Now we are going to discuss about the difference between wool and silk. Means we get to know the differences between wool and silk. Why it is so expensive? What are the positive things in wool, right? Wool obtained mainly from the fleece of some animals like goat and sheep, right? Already we discussed about this: goat, sheep, yak, alpaca or camel. All these are the animals which gives their fleece and we use it as a fiber. Then silk is obtained from silk moths. Wool appears mostly creamy white in color. They appear in creamy white color, or some of the sheeps are black, brown and white. Creamy white are the different shades of wool. Whereas silk is lustrous and has a peculiar natural shine. Silk is also creamy white color, but it is having naturally shiny in nature. That's why silk is very lustrous and very attractive. Wool absorbs moisture to a great extent. Means it absorbs water, it absorbs the sweat as much as it possible. Whereas the silk absorbs moisture to a less extent. Compared to wool, silk absorbs moisture very less. Whereas compared to cotton, wool also absorbs less amount of moisture. Okay. Wool has good insulating property. Means it insulates us. It keeps us warm during winter. So this characteristic is called as insulating property. Whereas silk is not as good as wool to keep the body warm. It keeps the body warm but not as good as the wool. These are the differences between wool and silk. Still we discussed so many points about fiber. Already we know that there are two main types of fiber. One is natural fiber, then another one is synthetic fiber. Natural fiber are the types of fiber which we get by plants or by animals. Synthetic fiber is also called as man-made fibers. There are again different types of synthetic fibers are there. They are nylon, polyester and rayon. So today we have discussed about the natural fibers. That in 6th standard we discussed about the plant fibers, that is cotton, jute, hemp, flax, coir, cotton, silk. All these are the different types of plant fibers. All these we get from the different parts of the plant that we have learned in our last class, means in 6th standard. But in 7th standard we discussed about the animal fibers. In our previous class we discussed about the wool and sheep, goat, yak, camel, llama. All these are the examples of wool yielding animals. We use their fleece as a wool. Okay, then today we discussed about the silk. There are 4 different types of silk, and mulberry silk, tassar silk, eri silk and muga are the different types of silk. In our today's class we discussed about the discovery of silk in China, then the properties of the silk, then the life history of silk moth, which is most important. Then we discussed about from cocoon to fiber, the process of collecting the fibers and the different 4 stages of getting fiber from cocoon, right? These are the things which we are going to understand by the topic. Hope you enjoyed the class. Thank you students. Bye bye.